What does modern slavery really look like in Britain?
She said, they threaten her. They're like an organization.
It is on the rise and has seeped into nearly every sector.
These are people on our shores often being exploited by British people.
We've been inside police operations tackling the crime.
Don't cry because it's nothing, you're not in trouble.
And spoken to victims.
I had complex PTSD. I just wanted to end my life.
It's mid-afternoon in Plymouth. Police have received intel about this house in a quiet residential part of the city.
Someone's coming to the door.
Officers believe there could be a victim of modern slavery behind this door.
Hey, you okay? My name's Max, I'm a police officer. Yeah, I'm just need cover the check.
A young woman is found there, living alone.
Can you ask, in the massage parlour, is she doing any sex work at all, or is it purely massage?
Interviewing her with the help of a translator, there is cause for concern.
What threats did they make to her?
She said, they threaten her. They're like an organization. She said her husband abused her, and her husband also owed a lot of money to those people. And they told her husband to take her to the UK, and she could work there to get payment to pay their money back.
Is she safe in this house? Is someone in control of this house?
That's what we're trying to establish now. So she's not paying rent here. This is her friend's address. He's currently in China.
Is he a friend?
This is what she's saying.
Okay.
While we're there, a customer turns up, having seen her advert for a massage on an app. An officer takes him into the back of a police car to try and gain any information.
Without being rude, like the 60 quid, how does that work?
You pay on the app? Oh no, cash to that lady. Don't cry because it's nothing, you're not in trouble. So you just book, where's her advert?
While the Home Office later recognised the woman inside this house as a victim of modern slavery, no one was arrested. Modern slavery is a crime present in nearly every sector.
It exists in many forms, from trafficking to domestic servitude and forced labour. It's a serious and often hidden crime where one person is exploited by another for their personal or financial gain.
Devon and Cornwall Police has built up a specialist unit to root out modern slavery in the southwest. At this car wash in Plymouth, a manager is detained over concerns about his visa. He has since been removed from the country. While there were no arrests in connection to modern slavery, one man was found living in squalor at the back of the garage.
There are significant concerns around this premises now. We have people being significantly underpaid, we have HMRC and customs issues, we have tax issues, we have concerns around how some of the staff are being treated. We've now found a member of the public asleep in a questionable racking unit in the dark in the back room. None of this paints a particularly good picture. I suspect between the officers we probably have 10 new pieces of intel that we'll be submitting into the police system.
The number of people identified as victims of modern slavery is rising every year.
According to the latest Home Office statistics, potential victims of modern slavery are at a record high. If we go back to 2023, there were nearly 17,000 referrals made to the Home Office. In the following year, that number had increased by 13%. And this year looks set to beat that. By June, there were already nearly 11,000 referrals made to the Home Office. And here in the southwest, Devon and Cornwall Police are also on track to make a record number of referrals this year.
And one of those victims was a student who we've called Rohima.
When he called me, I have to pick up the call. When he say me to come on that place, I have to go that place, like...
Controlling everything.
Yeah.
Working long shifts in terrible conditions, Rohima says she was forced to work in a bread factory. She had moved to the UK from Bangladesh to study a master's in global marketing. With a student visa, she could work 20 hours a week. And that's when, she says, she was put in touch with a so-called agency.
I was like a robot. I didn't sleep. If I work 50 hours, he will give me 20 hours. It was like all the night we have to stand up and just 1 hour we have a break. When I'm going to work, they used to fighting with me, talking to me badly and bullying me, those things. I was crying and I was mentally so broken.
Rohima says she was then subjected to physical and sexual abuse and forced into a marriage, having to work 15-hour shifts as a domiciliary care worker, visiting elderly patients in their homes, caring for their every needs.
They're giving a shift, more shift in work, but they didn't pay money.
So you're being forced to work for free?
Yeah.
Did you ever get paid?
I didn't get paid that much. I'm working for a whole month, but I'm getting 500. Was my highest paid. It's not like every time.
So you're doing a mix of a lot of care work and doing some shifts as well at the other factories.
Yeah.
Was that pretty much you working day and night?
This is how I was. Everything, it was too much for me, and I was thinking I will just ended up my life.
You just felt so overwhelmed that you couldn't see a way forward.
I just wanted to end up my life.
Eventually, Rohima says the other workers being exploited contacted the police and an investigation was launched. Initially, she struggled to trust the police and accept the help being offered. But she did find the strength and has been recovering at this Salvation Army safe house in the southwest. It's one of the largest in the country and cares for up to 32 female victims at any one time.
So this is our lounge area. It's one of the communal spaces that we have at the house. We tend to use this for games, reading, watching movies. Also got a craft area over there that the women sometimes use.
So it's a really nice space for them to come together and socialise.
Yep, we have all our house meetings in here, so the women get to hear some updates on what's happening in the house and also to give us some feedback about how we're doing.
Every woman here is waiting for a Home Office decision on their case, whether there is enough evidence to deem them a victim of modern slavery, known as a conclusive grounds decision. While they wait, this safe house offers wraparound care, health and legal support, mostly funded by the government.
What do the women say to you about what this safe house has done for them?
I think first and foremost is how safe they feel here, and that is really important to enable somebody then to start the journey of recovery. We've helped a lot of women into work so that they feel that they're able to contribute to society. We've also supported women to take part in police investigations, go to court to see their perpetrators actually brought to justice. And for me, that's a real personal success that it goes as far as that.
While Rohima is still waiting for her final Home Office decision, there were no prosecutions on her case. Now she is focused on her recovery.
Are you getting better?
I try to forget those things, but some of time in the night, it's like nightmare, like afraid of those things what's happened to me. I had complex PTSD, but I'm getting more well. When I come here, I don't think even though I would have a future, but I can now think about this hope I have.
While Rohima continues to recover from her harrowing experience, Andrew Wallace, who is from the leading charity Unseen, says the Home Office takes too long to decide on cases, leaving victims like Rohima in limbo.
The thing that the government needs to urgently do is come out very clearly and say that modern slavery is a crime with victim and perpetrators. And yes, it does in some circumstances have overlap with immigration, but it is different. We estimate now, based on Home Office figures, when they calculated what's the cost per victim, the socio-economic cost to the UK is now at a staggering £60 billion. We need to see the government doing more. We need to see the government taking leadership on this in order to both identify victims and then further to think how to effectively prevent this, because modern slavery has seeped into every part of our society.
A quarter of all referred victims are British nationals, and with cases at record levels, Safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips says she is committed to rooting out the cause of this crime.
What I don't want to do is mislead the British public to think that modern slavery is only an issue of foreign people coming over here, if you will. It isn't. These are people on our shores often being exploited by British people wherever they came from, whether they were born in Britain or not.
Home Office figure states that every victim on average is around £400,000. Is modern slavery not an economic issue?
Well, absolutely. The cost of the suite of abuses, if you will, that I am the minister for, costs our country billions of pounds. I don't just want to get them through the system because it makes for good numbers when I sit in interviews. I want people to be able to get on a pathway to recovery and becoming people who can live happily, healthily, economically in the world that I live in.
But when you talk about reducing the backlog, prioritising cases, ultimately you need victims to come forward and to engage. How are you going to be improving that and to ensure that, like the victim I spoke to, will be heard and listened to at that early stage?
I recognise that it is difficult for people like the woman that you are talking about to even identify themselves. And that goes for people who've arrived here on student visas, people who've been brought here completely illegally, and British-born children and adults who are exploited. So we have to do a huge amount of work to make sure that that work is going on locally on the ground. But of course, like that is the same with any interpersonal crime, is that getting people to understand that and feel confident in a system that they can come forward to. There is no silver bullet, and it is the $1 million question, but that is my job to make sure that we do that as much as possible.
Yeah.
And on the ground, Devon and Cornwall Police has so far trained 200 officers.
We want to be getting that entry, but we're doing it to safeguard the victims. That's the whole purpose.
They're trained to spot any signs in the community and support victims.
One of the techniques we can use is you just ask them about the city they're in. So we're in Plymouth at the moment, aren't we? And I would ask questions along the lines of, what do you like about Plymouth? Where do you go when you have your spare time or you're not working? Where do you buy your food? Which shop do you go to? And obviously you'd expect someone to be able to tell me that I visit the co-op or I go down the seafront. And it can become very apparent very quickly that they don't actually know anything about Plymouth. And you start to wonder, well, have you actually left this building? So just by having this friendly questioning can quickly raise your suspicion.
From those on the front line working to find victims, others are there to support them much further along in the process. Halimot is a survivor of trafficking and female genital mutilation.
Halimot, when did you set up this cake business?
I started 2017 after I got my refugee status. Because when I was younger, I want to be a doctor. Like, I love making people smile, looking after people. But because of the gaps in my education and my journey with trafficking, all that dream is gone.
But Halimot has put that passion into her business, where she upskills and supports others.
There will always be a lot of things that can take you back. So sometimes it's easy for me to fight it, but sometimes it's not easy. So for me, all those that will distract you from thinking. So yeah, for me, it's life-saving for me.
The Vavengers is a London-based charity which supports many survivors from the southwest who often struggle to rebuild their lives in smaller cities or rural communities.
We've supported many women from Plymouth particularly and Exeter, and they've ended up in London to seek freedom. And when we supported them, particularly across the Nigerian communities, what we have seen is that they have been subject to modern slavery from a very early childhood age.
Coming from my experiences as a child who was silenced, I never actually thought my voice would mean anything or that I could even speak. And I think one thing that's really powerful is being able to use your voice in a way that actually shapes policy, it's shaping laws, and it's changing the lives of people every day.
And when a potential victim is found, the first port of call is for them to be interviewed by a first responder who compiles a case on their behalf, which is sent to the Home Office.
Yes, it was.
I've come to Ilfracombe in North Devon to meet one of those first responders. Ian G moved here with his husband 15 years ago, and in 2022, this hotel turned into a dispersal hotel.
How many asylum seekers would have been housed here?
Between 150 and 190 at that time.
It was when Ian met 3 survivors of modern slavery outside this hotel that inspired him to help.
What was it about hearing these different stories that really resonated with you?
I think what it was, I knew that modern slavery existed, but I really didn't know the extent of it or the impact it had on people.
When the hotel closed as a dispersal hotel in 2023, Ian decided to train as a volunteer first responder with the Salvation Army.
Hi Isabel, how are you doing?
Just wonder, we've got an urgent case coming, we've got a potential victim who is destitute. What's your availability?
Ian takes on a case a week. The Home Office relies on the information he provides to make an informed decision about whether a person has been a victim of modern slavery.
Ian, you've already dealt with around 40 cases. Have you been dealing with victims from a number of different sectors?
Modern slavery is everywhere, it's endemic. So I've had cases of domestic servitude, I've had factory workers, people being forced into agricultural work, criminal enterprise such as drug dealing, and also, given we're by the sea, I've had people caught up in the fishing industry as well.
What particular case comes to mind?
So I had a man who was from Southeast Asia who legally obtained a visa to come to Britain. It's called a seaman's visa, I believe. And when he joined the boat, none of what had been promised came true. He was trapped on the boat for 2 years, never allowed to leave. He was fed rice and potatoes, had to sleep on the deck of the boat. He was beaten and verbally abused, sometimes working 70 hours straight through without any sleep. His family didn't know whether he was alive or dead for that 2 years.
Ian says modern slavery is a crime that everyone should be aware of.
Does the scale of exploitation and modern slavery, has it surprised you as to how entrenched it is and what you've experienced?
It's really horrified me that all of us are probably nearer to being exploited than we ever might imagine. The people I've spoken to had good lives in many cases, and it took 1 or 2 bad decisions, meeting the wrong people, believing something that was too good to be true, or something that just shifts the world underneath you. White people like you and I are just as likely to be trapped in this type of situation and need other people's help in order to liberate themselves from it.
Modern slavery is a crime that's become entrenched in our society and often relies on us questioning what's right in front of us. Marina, Jenkins, ITV News.